Hey everyone, welcome back to Northern High 420. Today we're going to do a test with the Tempest 2 and the Tornado. And we're going to continue going down this path of testing devices against the Tempest 2 until I finish the ones I have. After the Tornado, we're going to go with some of the ball-based ones. So the Stunner, Thermoaccumulator, the Vertivap, and we've already covered the Hyperdyne Thermal Hypercap. And then we'll get into, like, say, the Camouflet XL, the Ceramo XL, the regular Hyperdyne. We'll just go through all of them that I have. And then we'll pick another one, and we'll compare that one against the same set throughout the winter months. We'll be moving into ball vapes very shortly with a budget one with the All-Star from Vapana, the SS One Hit Wonder, the Adaptable from Vices are the three that I've chosen, and I'm going to include the Cloud Connoisseur Olympus and probably the Epitome in that one as well to show you what kind of budget options we have, but that's where we're starting out. First test on this one, we're going to give it to the YL. We'll start out with a Tempest 2. So far, this vape has been doing very well for me. It's kind of risen to the top of everything I've put it up against so far. Anvil was not expecting it to beat this. This is a long-time favorite for me. Love this vape. So a little surprised to see that one get beaten by the Tempest 2 for me. I wasn't really expecting that. The Anvil's been one of my favorite vapes for quite a long time. Take our first trip on the Tempest 2. Nice clouds and flavor again on the Tempest 2. No surprise here. Been using this one a lot. I've been getting great results with it. I'm sure the AVB is going to look good on it as well. We'll go ahead and dump it out on this side so we can compare it after we get done with the Tornado. We're going to spin it around. Now we're going to drop the Tornado in. Tornado's going to heat up a little bit faster. I'd expect about 23 seconds. And I'll take a rip on that. Hopefully everybody's had a good Black Friday. I had a couple deals that I picked up. I picked up a Carta Sport and another Rally, the Micro Heritage. If you haven't seen that yet, I would check that out. Although by the time you see it, the sale will probably be over. First trip on the Tornado. Tornadoes make me cough this morning. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Nice and even. Sure, it's going to look the same once I dump it out here. And we'll get to our first comparison. Get rid of the Tempest. This side here is the Tempest 2. And this Tornado, I would say they look pretty similar. Yeah, I would say they look pretty similar. The Tornado, oh, we'll mix them. Yeah, you really can't tell the difference between the two. So I would say pretty similar. The Tornado took about 10 seconds less to heat up in the YL than the Tempest 2, so that's kind of a cool thing if you want to make your sessions a little more efficient. 10 seconds, nothing to lose sleep over, though. It's not like it was 50 seconds for the Tempest to heat up. So round one, the YLL test. I would say they performed both very well. They both heat up in a pretty quick time. So first test in a while, I will say that both these devices heat up in a time that I would call acceptable. I wasn't waiting too long on it. When it takes a minute to heat something, I start losing interest. So nice, around 30 seconds for each of them. This one's more like 23. I think this one was a little like 35. My YLL is at like half charge, so I'm only running it at 60 watts. So I'd say probably about 24, 25 seconds for the Vestratto and maybe 35 seconds for the Tempest 2. Between these two, I would say the Tempest 2 definitely wins in flavor and airflow. The Tornado hits harder. I can feel it in my throat when I'm ripping on it. It's definitely, at least with this stem, I have a Cimarel stem which does a pretty good job of cooling. I can feel the heat building up in it already, and the vapor is definitely more harsh than, say, the Tempest 2. The Tornado really shines on water. I would have to try the full rig first to really determine if that makes a big difference, but I have a feeling that the Tempest 2 is definitely the smoother of the two. Flavor-wise, Tempest 2 wins. Airflow, Tempest 2. Hit strength, Tornado. Tornado's probably the hardest hitting stick you're going to find. It gives you the closest to a ball vape rip as far as a hit. The downside is the airflow, while not terrible, is definitely more restricted than, say, the Tempest 2. But on the hit alone, when I take a hit off the Tornado, I feel it right away. Hits me right in the head. The Tempest 2, I usually don't get that same smack out of it. So for me, round one, I would give the edge to the Tornado. The Tempest 2 does damn well, though. But I prefer a heavier rip that hits me right away. So Tornado for the win on the YL round one. To be fair, the Tornado has been my favorite stem vape for, I would say, at least a year now. So it's going to be a tough one to beat. Next test, we will take it to the Camouflet Inductor, which I think a lot of people that have one of these have issues heating the Tornado, and I'll show you a couple tricks that help me get by that I learned. It'll make the process a lot easier. The Tempest 2 we already know performs very well and heats up pretty quick, like I showed last time, about 10 seconds, then release and just wait, and it'll reach temp. So these will be pretty interesting on the heat time. This heats up extremely fast on the Inductor 2, and they're both a waiting situation afterwards, and we'll show that when we get to that test. So for this portion of the test, we'll be using the Camouflet Inductor. And we'll start out with the Tempest 2. And then with the Tempest 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it right in the middle. I showed this the last time. I'm going to heat it right in the middle for 10 seconds, and I'm going to release. So you can see the indicator. Now with the Tempest 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it right in the middle for 10 seconds. I showed this last time. I'm going to spin it, but I'm going to show you the indicator as I do it. Make sure this tip's on tight. You're going to watch that indicator keep moving. Then damn near reach the top in just 10 seconds. I'm going to take our first rip. Nice and tasty again. Inductor just works so good. Emptied out on that side. Same thing, spin it again. Back to backs really get to you, especially with these two. With this one, I'm going to heat it down here for like 2 seconds, not very long, and then at the top. And I'm going to do it until I start seeing vapor come from the top. I'm going to stop. We'll start right now. Probably good right there. Hopefully didn't overcook it. I know shortly. That's definitely riding the line. Definitely riding the line there. Nice and dark. Okay, so I'll get the Tempest 2 out of here so we can see. This side we have the Tempest 2. Or on this side we have the Tornado. And on this side the Tempest 2. You can see the Tornado, in the time we heated it, it definitely got a darker roast. I could tell by the fact that those two clicks came so close together when it finally clicked. That's a good indication you're probably riding the line with the Tornado on an IH, at least with the inductor. Tempest 2 looks nice to me. I like ABB about that color typically. Tastes a little better. But the Tornado, man, did that rip. Well, conclusion on these, I would say the Tempest 2 with the inductor is less hassle to heat. It's a straight 10 seconds and release. Pretty simple. All you do is count it out, release, watch the indicator once it's done. Take some rips and you're done. Taste is always good. Airflow, all that. Still prefer the Tornado because, again, when I hit the Tornado, it just smacks me right in the head. Otherwise, flavor, it's never going to be as good as the Tempest 2. So I would say this is probably going to be the same result because I know both these vapes on a torch. But we'll show how they work that way next. But overall, I think the Tornado is probably going to come out on top. Right now, I would take it over the Tempest 2 on both of these IHs. However, if I wanted to relax and not have to pay attention, I would grab the Tempest 2 over the Tornado with the inductor. Because with the inductor, what you're doing is you're going to heat that bottom or that top. You can skip the bottom, but the minute you start heating this top line, as soon as you see a decent amount of vapor coming out of the head, release. If you keep on heating after that, you're definitely going to combust with the Tornado. So that's a little trick with the inductor. Both of them heated up really quick. Pretty impressive vapes between these two, and we'll get ready for the next test where we will be using, like we did in the last video, this little $15 or $16 Amazon torch, the Ronx. Great little torch. And we'll get ready for the next test. Get these packed up. And for this portion of the test, we use the torch. And we're going to heat it right in the middle until we get to about the middle, and then we'll let off. Both of these vapes perform really well with the torch, which is great because that's how I use mine the most on the go. So it's nice that they heat up relatively quickly. They hit good. Tempest 1 definitely performed better on an IH than it did with a torch, which was one of the downfalls about it. I'm going to call that good right there. Take our first rip. ABB should look pretty good on this. Nice and dark. Definitely a darker roast than I got with the IH or the, I suppose either of the IHs. We're going to spin this around. And then with the tornado here, what we're going to do is we're going to heat this lower atomizer here for a little while. Then we're going to heat up here. And this one we're going to go to the click this time. It's going to be a little bit different than with the IH. There's the click. There's the other click. I knew they were going to come pretty close. This one I used so much, I just kind of know the timing. But that was pretty close when I let off. We're going to take our first rip. Nice rips on the tornado. I actually feel like the Tempest maybe did better on the torch than I got on the tornado. Maybe it looks pretty good, but it doesn't look nearly as dark. So on this test, we have the tornado on this side and the Tempest on this side. I'll put it a little closer together. The Tempest definitely looks a little darker roast, where the tornado is a little lighter on this rip. I noticed it with the vapor that I could have probably heated the tornado a little more. It was probably a little light on the heat. For the Tempest 2, I think I nailed perfectly. But both of them look really good. I mean, there's nothing to complain about, but I definitely gave the Tempest 2 a little bit more heat. On this one, I preferred the Tempest 2 over the Tornado on the Torch. Otherwise, very similar. The flavor is similar between all devices. The hit strength, I got a better hit off of the Inductor and the YL than I did on the Torch with the Tornado, where on the Tempest I got consistent results across all three. So something to keep in mind, maybe the indicators do work pretty well, you know, knowing that I can hold it to the middle. But then when you get to, like, say, the Inductor, on both of these, you're kind of looking at something different. On this one, you use 10 seconds and release. On this one, you wait for the vapor to start coming out. So I would say both these devices performed very well on all the tests. The Tempest 2 is more consistent across all three, where the Tornado I preferred over the Tempest on both induction heater tests. I prefer the Tempest 2 at the torch. As far as carrying them around, neither of these rank really high for my carry. They're both something I would use more at home or somewhere where I'm sitting down. I could see the Tempest 2 probably being more of a carry around, considering this one I feel performs better on a stem, where the Tornado I feel definitely highlights better on water, where on a stem for me it's a little harsh. So as a portable, I'd prefer the Tempest. Overall for effects, the Tornado is probably undefeated for effects when it comes to all these stem-based vapes. But I would say this one's probably a draw across the board with a slight edge towards my preference for the Tornado's vapor and the way it hits me in the face. The Tempest 2 has been performed very well across all these side-by-sides we've done so far. So I think one of the next tests we're going to do is we're going to test the Tempest 2 versus the Thermal Accumulator, the Vertivap, the SS Stunner, and the Dynavap Hyperdyne Thermal Cap, which we've already done. But I think it'll be interesting to see how it performs against these, since they're the most comparable. We do have a original Tempest head, so we can run this in there too. But I think the Tempest 2 pretty much makes that one pointless. So I think we're going to run the next video with these. I think it'll be interesting to see how the results are, because I like all three of these. This one hits really good. It's just kind of janky in my opinion. So that'll probably be the next video we do. It'll be torch based, because these three in the middle here, you could probably use them in an IH, but it's going to be a struggle. They're going to heat too long with the inductor even. I worry about overheating the head when I'm heating them. They might work in the YLL. I know I've done the stunner once before, but it takes so long to heat. You might as well just use a torch. So that'll be the next video. Until next time, see you later. Goodbye.